So my friends, what does it take to get a premium buyer to say, I'm in? Let's go. Let's make this happen. I want to buy your products, your services, your courses, your programs, whatever it is that you're doing. How does that happen? Well, I'm going to walk you through 5 things that I've discovered over the years, especially during the last 6 months where we've raised our prices and basically filled out our programs even more with people, which is amazing. And I'm gonna share with you exactly what those things are, and specifically 5 things that I've personally noticed that really make a massive difference in the type of people that you're able to bring in. I am beyond excited to be here today with you guys. In case we have not met yet, I'm Fabi Paolini, Brand Strategist, helping coaches, consultants, and experts build premium brands that attract high-end clients every single day by upgrading their marketing with magnetic messaging, design, the works. And really what I want to talk about today is, what does it take? What does it take to land a premium buyer? What do we have to do? What do we have to do to make that happen? Because here's what I want to make it very, very clear to you guys. A lot of people tend to believe that, well, what I need to do in order to attract a premium buyer, what I need to do is speak to the Kardashians. Like, how do I get in front of the Kardashians? How do I get in front of these elite group of people, because it's the only way that I'm going to make high ticket sales? And the truth is that that's not the truth at all. And if that's what you believe, if you believe that what you need is to get into the group of elites, and that's the only way for you to make high ticket sales, well, that means to me that you don't really understand what it means to buy, what a premium buyer really is. And that's what I'm going to walk you through today. Oops, let me mute my watch because otherwise it's going to distract me. And that means that you don't really understand what that is. And I'm going to walk you through what a premium buyer is and the 5 things that it takes for you to be able, or the 5 things that premium buyers need to understand for them to really buy from you. So, who is excited? Say hi in the comments if you're watching me live. Say hi if you're watching the replay. If you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching this in another place, just say hi anyways. I'm here for you. I'm excited to be here today and to walk you through a lot of these different concepts and ideas, because I know that they're going to be very, very, very powerful for you moving forward. So that being said, let's first talk about what makes a buyer a premium buyer, because I feel like this, like I was saying a moment ago, is a really big part of what's off or what gets you to not really understand how things work. To me, a premium buyer is somebody who is willing to pay high prices to solve the problem that they have. Does that mean that they happen to have $50,000 in a savings account doing nothing? Not necessarily. It can happen like that, but not necessarily. To me, a premium buyer is somebody who is willing to pay to solve the problem. And for some people, it's going to mean that they have the cash lying around, but for the most part, it's the people that are willing to move money, to make things happen in one way or another, because again, they understand that the cost of not solving the problem is way higher than the cost of hiring somebody like you to be able to solve it. So when you understand that, it means that we need to be able to speak to our audience in such a way that they understand that the cost of them not solving the problem, like I just said, is way more expensive than the cost of solving it with you right now. And we have to position you, what you do, your services, your solutions, your offers as, well, this is actually the thing that my audience really needs right now in order to be able to solve the problem that they have, like I'm saying, right? So it's really important for us to get very clear on the person first. And for that, I want you to think about how you are as a buyer. What gets you to buy? What triggers you? What pushes you? What moves you to say, you know what, I'm going to make an investment. I'm going to hire this coach. I'm going to hire this person. I'm going to hire a designer or a consultant or whomever you're looking to hire, right? Think about what are the things that move you personally the most, because I think that it's so powerful when we get clear on those things ourselves and ask ourselves, am I showing up like that person as well? So if you as a buyer are looking for certain things, are you becoming or embodying those certain things in the way that you're showing up in your own business as well? I feel like that is probably the number one thing that you want to ask yourself in this process. So that being said, let's break down what I believe are 5 of the top things that premium buyers really want and are looking for when they're out there looking to buy the services, the products, or the things that are out there. So the first thing is, as a buyer, as a premium buyer, what I'm looking for is certainty. I'm looking for the coach that is really sure of what the thing that they're selling. If they have that level of conviction, if they have that level of magnetism, they have that level of belief in what they're saying, that is going to immediately captivate me as a buyer. And your audience, your clients, or the people that you're looking to have them become your clients, that's what they want. They want conviction. They want to make sure that what you're selling them is something that you believe in above everything else, because obviously there's going to be a million people out there selling a variation of what you're selling. There's competition, there's this, there's that, there's all of these options available. But at the end of the day, and I always talk about this, people buy from people, right? And and this is true more and more and more every single day. In the age of TikTok, the age of social media, people are looking to make real connections with the people that they buy from. So for me, for example, whenever I'm looking to buy from a company, to buy from a coach, to buy from anybody, I always want to make sure that the people that I'm looking to buy from are people that I kind of I like them, right? I believe in them. I believe in the things that they're putting out there. I believe in who they are. I'm really looking at these things as well. So if you're not really showing up in a way that you're getting your audience to believe in you, it's going to be very difficult for you to generate that engagement, that connection, that power between you and your audience, right? So the first thing that we want to really think about in terms of your of attracting a high ticket buyer is how you're showing up, because a high ticket buyer is going to buy from somebody who is standing in their own power, that has that certainty, that has that conviction, that has that confidence in who they are and what they have to sell, which leads us to the second thing. And the second thing is, a premium buyer wants to buy something that feels completely different from anything else that they've bought, right? And so, for example, if you are a health coach, I don't know why I always go to the easy example in my brain of health coaches and weight loss coaches. If you're out there selling a program that is literally exactly the same thing that they've tried a million times, you're going to tell me to cut carbs and increase protein and eat 5 times a day, am I going to pay $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, whatever $1,000 for that? I don't think so. So you really need to make sure that you're positioning your offer as something that is completely different from anything else that they've experienced out there. If you're selling essentially the same thing, I've seen it again, I've done it, I've implemented, I've invested in it in the past, why would I go out and buy from you? So as a buyer, for a premium buyer, they need to feel that you're giving them something that they haven't seen before, or you're showing them a point of view that is completely different from the points of views that they've experienced in the past, right? For this, I feel like one of the ideal things to do is for you to generate or create a methodology, a framework, a process that is your own. This is what I do. If you are here, you've probably seen me and heard me talk about the brand strategy pyramid. That is my own framework. This is the thing that I created. And when I work with my clients, that is literally the number one thing that we focus on. How can we build a framework? How can we build a methodology? How can we build a process that is their own freaking process? Because when you're selling, if you're selling a coaching program that is 6 weeks long or 9 weeks long with 9 calls and email access and Voxer, I can get that anywhere. Why would I pay a premium price to get it from you? Well, the only reason why somebody's going to pay a premium price to get an offer like that from you is if it feels like something that is completely different from anything else that they've experienced in the past. So if you're looking to attract a premium buyer, think about how are you positioning your offer? How are you positioning your framework? How are you showing up? What are you even selling? Are you selling just another program that generates the same result that most people are doing or selling? Or is there a way for you to be able to position it and show it in a very different way that makes people feel like, oh, I hadn't thought about this before. I hadn't heard of this before. This feels different. This looks different. This sounds different. This is different on every single level. So that is what we want. We want to find a way to do this. And I understand that for the most part, that might not seem as simple because we're not reinventing the wheel here, right? if you are, again, a health coach, there's just like a limited ways of things that you can do to get people to lose weight for the most part, right? But there are ways in which you can give things or your processes a unique angle. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the unique angle, the unique point of view, the different way of doing things that makes people feel like, oh, okay, I hadn't thought of that before, or I haven't tried that before. And this connected to the first thing that I talked about, standing in your own power, having that certainty, that trust in what you're selling is going to really take your audience to that next level, if that makes sense. So it's going to turn you from being somebody that's selling to anybody to somebody who's selling to a premium audience, and a premium audience saying, okay, I see, you have something different that you're selling. This is a process that I haven't heard before. And on top of that, there's this certainty in what you're selling. There's this belief, there's this conviction, there's this magnetism in the way in which you're showing up, which makes me feel like I want that. I'm willing to pay more for that to happen, right? So in terms of what I was talking about earlier, when we're thinking about getting an audience to buy or looking for that premium buyer, it's not that they just have the cash like lying around, but we're speaking to people in such a way that we're communicating to the solution that they want, so that they're like, you know what, I'm willing to pay whatever I need to pay to be able to solve my problem, right? So that's why if you're giving them a unique point of view in terms of the solution and in the way in which you're showing up, the way that you're bringing in your power, your conviction, your energy, it's really going to make a very, very big difference in how they see you, if that makes sense. So that's the second thing. The third thing, and if you've heard me before, you know what I'm going to say, is learning how to speak more to your audience desires than to their problems. So the majority of people out there are teaching pain marketing, right? Let's talk about the problem. Let's agitate the problem. Let's speak to the pain, the symptom, the scenario, the horrible thing that's going on. I like to call that the Ursula, right? Most people are speaking to the Ursula being the poor, unfortunate soul. You're talking to the problem. You're talking to the person who's not responsible for themselves, who's like, oh, poor me, I'm in victim mode. I'm not responsible. It's always somebody else's fault. I'm not taking accountability. I'm not taking responsibility. It's this thing that happened to me. It's that thing that happened to me. The world is out to get me. And they're not really taking accountability for whatever's going on in their lives. So that is what the majority of people are doing. If you're wanting to speak to a premium buyer, you need to make sure that you're speaking to their desires, because a premium buyer, what makes them want to buy is somebody that's speaking to what they want, not somebody who's speaking to what they don't want, right? I don't want to like land on a webinar from somebody or read copy or an email that only makes me feel bad. That I read it and I'm like, oh my God, yeah, my life sucks. I don't want that. Who wants that? I want you to picture, like, show me what is possible. What is possible if I work with you? What can I accomplish? What can my life look like? I want you to paint that picture for me. I want you to take me there. I want you to have that vision for me and for you to lead the way so that I can get to where I really desire to be. So your content, the things that you're putting out there, have to speak to the desire, not to the problem. That's not to say that you're only going to paint like pretty unicorns and like beautiful things and everything's so pretty and nice. No, you do have to walk them through the problem, but there's a very specific way of doing this where you're not speaking to the victim, where you're not speaking to the Ursula, where you're not speaking to the person who is in victim mode mentality, but you're speaking to the person who I call like the driven hero, the person who's like, let's go, I'm ready to solve this problem. So you really need to make sure that you're communicating to that person versus to the one who's like, ugh, my world is falling apart. And you have to hold the vision for your audience so that they feel like, damn, this feels really good to me. This feels good. This feels powerful. I'm in. Because a premium buyer, what makes them want to buy is that vision, is you holding that vision for them, if that makes sense, right? So then the fourth thing that we want to make sure that we're doing that makes a premium buyer want to buy is examples, case studies, interviews, social proof of what you've got, right? So by this point, you're standing in your power, you're showing that what you're selling is something different, you're painting this vision, you're painting the picture. Well, now show me what's possible through example. Now, for some of you, you might be like, well, obviously that's easy for me. I have so many testimonials. I have clients who have, like I have a client that I'm working with right now, who's a manifestation coach that literally has hundreds, and I'm not I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of testimonials because she's had hundreds of clients over the years. So obviously that's easy for her to be able to show examples, right? If you go to my testimonial page, there's literally hundreds of examples. Well, that's years of experience of me showing up and working with clients and doing my thing. But when you don't have necessarily a lot of testimonials or case studies or whatever, well, you want to use whatever it is that you have, even if it is your own story. If you're using or leveraging your own story to be able to showcase what's possible for you. So walk people through your own like what you have gone through, what your before and after is. Do that instead. But my recommendation is using social proof is going to be extremely powerful, because if you're out here just putting out content, speaking to the problem, speaking to this, speaking to that, but you're not proving or you're not showing what's possible for your audience through the work that unique process that you have, well, that's going to be very difficult for you to be able to really convince this audience, especially when it's a cold audience and they don't really know you. It's going to be very difficult for you to get them to see that what you have is something that is really going to solve the problem that they have right now. So bringing in case studies, like intertwining case studies and examples and screenshots or whatever you have from your clients, is going to be very, very powerful in getting people to be like, okay, that makes me want to buy, right? Like if I'm showing, or you're showing me the results, and you're showing me the results through example, either because of your own example or because of things that you're doing with other people, okay, I'm in. Like, I'm curious to find out more, okay? That's a really good one. And then for me, the last one, and this is probably my favorite one, and it's probably one of the hardest ones sometimes to do, but what makes a premium buyer want to buy is this feeling like you don't care whether they come in or not, right? Does that make sense? Like this feeling of detachment. So for us, we've learned to practice absolute and total detachment over the years when we are speaking to somebody who's potentially going to come in. If they come in, great, awesome, I'm here for you. If you're like, I'm not ready yet, cool, go ahead, that's fine. Whatever happens, I'm still gonna make money in my business. My business is still growing. I'm still getting clients. I don't care whether you come in or not. So that level of detachment almost makes you want to be like, what the heck? Why are you so detached? Like, why don't you even care whether I come in or not? And that is an energy thing, if that makes sense. That's like this internal knowing, this magnetism that really makes people feel like, okay, now I'm curious, right? And I really believe that this is something that is extremely powerful, that actually really works if you practice it correctly in your marketing. That level of really total detachment, right? If you're ready, come in. Come in whenever you're ready. I have no rush. I have no reason to pressure you. I have no desire to be like, let's go, let's get you. Do your thing. You do you. I'm over here doing me. Like, does that make sense? Obviously, for that to happen, for you to be able to practice that level of detachment, you definitely need to have it. And I feel like the evidence of it helps. Like in our case, we generate weekly high ticket sales every single week. So if I talk to you and you're like, well, I don't know, cool. If you don't come in, somebody else will come in, because every single week we are enrolling people. This whole year we've enrolled people every single week. So I'm like, well, if you don't come in, it's not going to be you. It's going to be somebody else. I don't care. You do you. I'll do me. You know what I mean? So practicing that level of detachment in your content, in your marketing, in your emails, in your sales conversations is actually something that builds desirability with what you're selling. So when we're thinking about what makes a premium buyer want to buy, if you are like slimy and pressuring and being like, hey, what's good? Like, let me know if you have any questions. I'm here for you. If you're coming in with that kind of energy, it makes you be like, no, wait. Take a step back. Thank you. I'm not really interested, right? A premium buyer is going to be interested in that detachment. It's actually going to, like, they're going to gravitate more to that as well. It's very interesting, but it is 100% true. Let me know in the comments if this makes sense to you. And if you're like, you know what? I kind of feel like Fabi's right about this. Like, there is this feeling of when I am detached from the outcome, people are more interested in me. And the reason for that is really tying back to the first point that I made. Like, you're standing in your power. You have certainty. You have trust in what you have to offer, what you have to sell. You have this conviction and this confidence that makes people say, like, what's going on over here? Like, why are you so detached? Now I'm curious to find out more. If you are pushy, if you are desperate, it makes it feel like I'm not really interested. Especially, again, if we're speaking to somebody who is a premium buyer, right? Who is the person that we want to bring in. So I really feel like that kind of energy of like, if you want to come in, awesome. If you don't, that's okay. That's okay. If that makes sense, right? Like, we really want to come on with that sort of energy of like, I really don't care. But for all of these things to work and for them to make sense, it really comes down to your messaging, of course. What else did you guys think that I was going to say, right? It comes down to your messaging. So when I say it comes down to your messaging, I mean it comes down to your post on social media. It comes down on your emails that you're sending. It comes down to your webinars. It comes down to your videos. It comes down to your website copy. It comes down to every little piece of content that you are putting out there. Remembering too that that messaging is an ecosystem. It's not just one thing. It's the sum of all of the things. It's your landing page and your website copy and your emails and your webinar and your PDF and this and that, and all of it is going to add up. And when you're showing up in all of these pieces, standing in your own power, showing them that what you're selling is something different, you're like that there's a process that you're creating, you're speaking to your audience desires, you're showing case studies and examples, and you're intertwining them into all that you're doing, and there's this level of detachment, like I don't really care, it builds that magnetism. It really makes people feel like, what's going on over here? Like, I'm curious to find out more. What is all this, right? So that is what we want. We want to show up in that energy everywhere that we're putting content out there. That being said, and you know what I'm going to say if you've been following me for a while, or if you're watching these videos for a while, here's how we can help you make sure that you're speaking to the premium buyer. We do these 15-minute calls in which we're going to evaluate and diagnose whatever's going on in your copy. So that means your website, or your landing page, or post on social media. Maybe you have something on Instagram, or something that you're sharing on LinkedIn, or something that you're sharing on TikTok or on Facebook. Maybe you have a landing page for a webinar or a PDF, or something that you've been creating or putting out there. So what we'll do is we'll sit down and we'll look at your content and we'll tell you, hey Ugo, hey Christy, you know what? This copy over here, this is actually, you're not standing in your own power. You're not showing your process. You're not speaking to desire. You're speaking to the Ursula over here. You're here, this needs to change to that so that you start attracting better quality leads. So we'll give you very specific and personalized feedback to allow you to be able to attract a premium buyer through your content, through the things that you're putting out there. Now, this call is 100% free, and it is 100% pitch free, meaning we do not sell on the call. It is not a sales call. You will never, ever, ever be sold on this call. Even if you beg us to buy, you're not going to be sold. So if you want to do this call, type the word audit in the chat below, or if you're watching this in the replay vault, click on the button below this video and you can book the call yourself directly, and we'll look at it from there. Or just send me a DM with the word audit if you are on Facebook or on Instagram, and I will send you all the details so that you can go ahead and book that call as well. Hopefully this has been helpful for you guys. I hope that you have fun. Let me know in the comments on what you think. And again, I'll recap the 5 things just in case we missed them. Number 1, it's all about what makes premium buyers want to buy. Number 1 is you standing in your own power, having certainty, having trust in what you have to sell. Number 2, what you're selling feels completely different from anything else that they've seen out there. There's a unique process, a methodology, a framework. You're doing your thing. You're showing up differently. Number 3, you're speaking to your audience desires. So you're not speaking to the Ursula, the poor unfortunate soul. You're not speaking to the problem, the horrible pain, but you're elevating your vision that you have for them, and you're showing up in that energy, and everything you're creating is speaking to the desires. Number 4, social proof, bragging, showing up, showing what you've got, showing what you've done, so showing the results that your clients have gotten. Number 5 is total detachment. If you come in, cool. If you don't want to come in, that's fine too. Hopefully these made sense. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you all next week. Ciao.